Hey guys, I'm live. Gonna tilt this up a little bit. Or not. I'm not gonna do that. All right, I'll wait for a few people to come on here. I'm gonna talk today about glutes and chronic pain and a couple things that are related to that. I think that it's come up a lot in conversation quite recently, especially with women, about how to engage their glutes. Hey Crystal, what's up, girl? I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come on here, drinking my coffee, and I'm a queen now, huh? Hey, there's someone else on here. Doesn't tell me who it is. I got my whiteboard today because I'm going to be explaining some stuff with visuals. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come on. I can't even speak when I'm excited about glutes, Crystal. It's ridiculous. So I kind of hate my live video voice. So I'm gonna wait for, it says there's 3 on here. I'll wait another 30 seconds. If you are watching the replay, go ahead and skip to 1 minute, maybe 2. And we'll get into it. So just kidding, I'm just gonna start now because why not, right? Why not? So today I would like to talk about something that has been on my mind, something that's always on my mind, but something that is more and more and more and more and more on my mind as I talk to women who are like, I want to build my glutes, I want to build my legs, what should I do? I'm doing squats, I'm doing leg press, I'm doing lunges, these kinds of things. Also, women who say the same thing, maybe they have a desk job, and they have low back pain, they have hip pain, they have knee pain, they have plantar fasciitis, they have all of these things. Maybe their knee pain is on one side, and I just want to sort of go over things, clear the air a little bit, because it all comes from the glutes and the hips, okay? So my topic for today is really about what I like to call chronically under-engaged and chronically underdeveloped glutes. So if we think of humans in terms of an anatomical sense, right? The glutes, your body, literally your booty, is supposed to be the largest and most powerful muscle in your body. The largest and most powerful muscle in your body. So if we think about most people that we see, this is for sure not the case. And I think even athletes a lot of times are overlooking the power of glute strength because your glutes are the things that power you forward in a sprint, right? They're those things that propel you when you're jumping really high. So athletes need to have developed glutes for those types of explosive exercises as well as performance, right? But general people, right? General people need to have glute strength just to be functioning at their best, right? So like I said, your glutes are supposed to be the largest and most powerful muscles in your body. And I think that there are 2 types of biomechanical motion that will engage different parts of your legs or your glutes based on your hips and how they're functioning, right? So hip flexion exercises would be any exercise that makes your hip joint smaller. I'm going to make a small diagram. It's going to not be very artistic, even though I have an art degree. Right? So this is, well, no, that was awful. Pretend you're sitting down, right? This is a person sitting down. This is their legs. They look like a chair, really. So this is their hip joint here. It's in a flexed position. So when are we also flexing our hips? When we're running, when we're lunging, when we're bending over to pick something up, when we're squatting, right? It's like sitting down and standing back up. Anything that mimics this motion. So the biggest thing to remember is that when your hips are in when your hips are in a flexed position like this, your glutes are completely underengaged. You're completely asleep. Your glutes are not engaged, right? This is why a lot of people who have desk jobs, a few of my clients included, it's kind of become a running joke, right? They refer to themselves or to a certain phenomenon as secretary ass. The longer we sit, it's not the pressure of the chair on your butt that's making it flat. It's the fact that when your hips are in a flexed position, you are not engaging the glutes, okay? So basically, this causes a lot of chronic pain as well as a lot of issues with filling out your jeans or how do you want to build glutes and all these things. It's really hard to reverse the damage done when you're sitting all day, when you're bending down all day, right? Even if you go to the gym. And now this is where it gets even more interesting, right? So most people are sitting in a chair all day, right? They're sitting at a desk all day in a flexed position. Their hips are flexed. And when they go to the gym, presumably to make up for the damage done sitting at this desk job all day, they say, I'm going to build my glutes. I'm going to do squats. I'm going to do certain types of deadlifts. I'm going to do lunges, okay? And for some reason, when I talk to women who are like, look, I want to build my glutes, what do I do? They're like, I'm doing squats, I'm doing squats, I'm doing squats. And I'm like, that's great, but honey, you are only getting your quads, right? A lot of women say, I'm doing the leg press, I'm doing squats, I'm doing lunges. And now let me just explain something to you. If your hips are flexed in a seated position, that's exactly what you're doing in a squat. That's exactly what you're doing in a lunge. That's exactly what you're doing on the leg press. The leg press especially is going to hit your quads. This means that we as a society are a quad dominant society, So whether or not you're going to the gym, most of the things you do in your daily life, getting up from a chair, squatting down to pick something up, lunging forward to like catch your baby from falling off the table, whatever it is, right? You are mostly engaging your quads. So we have completely lost our consciousness of how to engage the glutes through the mind-muscle connection. But even beyond that, scientifically speaking, many of us don't know how to engage the glutes. A lot of women are like, I'm doing these pulse squats, I'm doing these little like sumo deadlifts, which are actually good, but we're gonna talk more about that. I'm doing lunges and they're like, my butt's not growing, but my legs are getting huge. And I'm like, honey, it's because these exercises of hip flexion are engaging your quads. We are a quad dominant society because we live in a way that causes our glutes to be like completely unengaged all the time, right? All the time. So when your hips are in a flex position, right, you're not engaging the glutes. And now people will argue, right? Well, squats are great because you squeeze at the top. So if you think of the bottom of a squat, hips are flexed in the bottom of a squat. These are your hips. They are flexed, which means that that angle has gotten smaller, right? I'm flexing my bicep by making my elbow joint smaller. When you get to the top of a squat, you extend, and then you extend. And this is known as hip extension, which means that if you are going to be squatting to build a booty, the biomechanically most efficient part of the squat for glute engagement is the very top, because when you extend the hips, you are squeezing your glutes, right? So yes, it's true that you will engage your glutes on some level in exercises like squats. However, the main concentric movement, which means the main part of the squat, the main action is coming down in the squat. So we need to incorporate exercises that make the main motion the hip extension, right? You're only returning to the beginning when you're extending your hips in a squat. So why are people neglecting exercises that are targeting hip extension as the main concentric movement? So this is where you get your hip thrusters, your glute bridges, your glute kickbacks, all of these things, right? And I'm telling you right now, all of my clients joke about this. They're like, I'm doing my thrusters up in the gym and everyone's looking at me. They're like, the thrust is a must. Like, I give them a glute and a hammy workout and they're like, I've never thrusted so much in my life, like at one time. And I swear to God, it's because we are neglecting this. Everything we do is flexion, right? Deadlifts are great, lunges are great, squats are great, but women, if you are looking to build your glutes, these are not optimal. They're not as optimal as something else that you could be doing. And now that's already erased. I want to take this discussion into a slightly different angle, okay? So this chronic underdevelopment and under-engagement and like lack of awareness of how to engage the glutes, right, is causing chronic pain. If you have lower back pain, if you have knee pain, if you have foot pain, if you have hip pain, if you have any type of pain, especially if it's on one side or the other, I can tell you right now, this is stemming from a weakness in the glutes and a weakness in the hips. Now, there was a huge rise in chronic pain. I don't know this scientifically for sure, but I have a feeling there has been a huge rise in chronic pain since we became a sedentary society, since we all began to sit at desk jobs. And it's not just because we're not moving. It's because our hips are constantly flexed. And when your hips are flexed, you are not engaging the glutes. And if the glutes are supposed to be the strongest and most powerful stabilizing muscles in your body, right? And they're not, then that's going to cause issues. It's going to cause huge issues. So I like to have this discussion, and I know I've done this a few months ago, but I'm going to draw a little diagram here. So I like to call this one like levels of stabilization, okay? So the main level of stabilization in your whole body is your hips and your glutes. Those are the things that are going to keep you stabilized. And if they're weak, there are going to be other joints that take more force than they should take. So let me explain. These are your hips. Again, I have an art degree, but this is not super artistic. Let's just say that I decided to take a different career path. Okay, this is your knee, right? These are your knees, and then these are your feet. So just pretend that's a person with no torso and no neck, okay? Can you guys see that? Anyway, so these are your hips, right? And your glutes, presumably, right? Glutes. So basically, if you have knee pain or foot pain, it can be caused by weak glutes. So I like to think of this as levels of stabilization. Like I said, this is level 1, this is level 2, and your feet and your ankles and your toes are level 3. So if you are walking over uneven terrain, your hips and your glutes are going to take the biggest changes in the ground, the biggest boulders, the biggest hills. They're going to keep you stabilized throughout all of those changes in the surface that you're walking on. Now, if your hips and your glutes are too weak to take those changes, what's going to happen? Too much force too much force is going to go to your knees, and your knees are not designed to take that much force. They're only designed to take the smaller rocks, the smaller patches of grass, the smaller hills in the ground, right? And your feet and your toes are only designed to take like sand and dirt and like even smaller. You can think of it, like I said, as levels of stabilization. Your feet are going to get like the smallest micro changes in topography to keep you stabilized. Your knees are going to get something a little larger, and your hips and your glutes are going to handle like the big hills and getting over uneven terrain. So like I said, if your hips and your glutes are unable to stabilize you over uneven terrain that is too large for the knees to take, that's going to cause some knee pain, because your knees are going to say, damn, I am undergoing way too much force right now and I should not be doing that. Same with the feet. If you have plantar fasciitis, this means that it's stemming from the hips, it's stemming from the glutes. You are not holding yourself up properly. If you're a runner and you have plantar fasciitis, you are most likely putting too much weight in the bottom of your foot because your glute is like not doing its job, right? Your hips are not doing its job. So let's just say, right? Not only do we want to fill out our jeans, ladies and men, I mean like whatever kind of jeans you want to wear, right? Not only do we want to do that, but I have had every single client I've ever worked with, I can't even think of one who has had chronic pain that has not at least experienced an improvement in chronic pain, if not a complete eradication of it after like 2 weeks, because a lot of my programming focuses on glutes. So one, ladies, yeah, you're gonna build a nice behind, but it's so much more than that. As humans, we're like literally designed to have nice asses, like because it keeps us strong, it keeps us stabilized. If we are constantly living a life of hip flexion, squats, deadlifts, lunges, all of these things, right? Sitting down in a chair, you are quad dominant, your glutes are asleep, and I can tell you right now, you probably have chronic pain. So you're saying, okay, I wanna get rid of my chronic pain and I wanna get in shape. So I'm gonna go to the gym after I sit at a desk all day and do all exercises of hip flexion. I'm gonna do squats, I'm gonna do deadlifts, I'm gonna do lunges, and then I'm gonna leave and wonder why my back still hurts. And honey, it's because you are not engaging the glutes. So I hope this made sense to you guys. Make sure that you're adding in those hip thrusters, make sure you're adding in those glute kickbacks. And if you really are ready to get rid of chronic pain, number one, if you have it, strengthen your glutes in a way that's gonna make your whole body more well-rounded, as well as, obviously it's a confidence builder, let's be real. Like if you feel like your glutes are flat, I can tell you right now, your body is not designed to be that way. We are designed to have developed glutes. Like if you look, I have a human body poster right there. If you look at a human body poster, they all have nice perky asses because it's natural. We're supposed to have developed glutes. So if you have chronic pain, if you want to fill out your jeans, whatever the case may be, trust me, every woman I've ever worked with has accomplished this as well as an eradication of chronic pain. It's not about vanity. It's not about doing your glute kickbacks just so you can build a booty or whatever it is. It's so much more than that. If you have knee pain, if you have hip pain, if you have back pain, if you have foot pain, I'm telling you right now, working on hip extension, working on lateral motion or abduction is going to make your life so much easier, okay? So hit me up, click the link below if you would like to sign up for a free consultation call with me about your fitness and your health and whatever the case may be, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay, Crystal Martinez, I am not gone yet. What are my top 3 booty exercises? So I would say hip thrusters. Thrust is a must. I did those today. And women, ladies, and men, I see women all the time doing their hip thrusters with like a 20-pound dumbbell, and that's awesome. Like that's a great place to start, but do not be afraid to challenge yourself because women we're designed with strong hips and strong glutes, and you will surprise yourself in your ability to thrust if you challenge yourself, right? Like I've thrusted over 300 pounds, and that's not even, like some women are insane. They're like 400, 500 pounds, right? So obviously start somewhere small, but I would say definitely get those going. So any kind of thrust, Crystal, as well as I would say abduction. So make sure you get your lateral motion in. I do like glute kickbacks, but they're more of an accessory exercise. Hip hinging is something I'm going to have to talk more about in another video. I would say, Crystal, any type of glute bridge. So with your back elevated, the 3 main ones are on the floor, right? On the floor. And then it's more optimal for glute engagement other than hamstring engagement if your back is elevated on a bench or your feet are elevated on a bench and you are laying on the floor, okay? So try those out. You've probably seen them in my videos. Get your hip extension in there. And again, click the link below for a free consultation call with me about your goals, about your fitness, about your chronic pain, whatever the case may be. Crystal. Foam rolling I do separately. I'll warm up with bands. All right, I don't want to make it too long. And talk to you guys soon.